A year ago, I bought a very interesting product. It was an alarm clock called the TFA Dostmann 602531 Bingo. So, and it had a reverse LCD, which is a black background with white lettering LCD screen, which had a sensor, and it would stay lit at night very dimly, and I love that. I love that on that watch. So I bought that watch, and I wasn't happy with certain things on that watch, and I sent it back. And I think a year later or sometime later, the company released the second iteration of the Bingo alarm watch, which I have here in front of me, which is the Bingo 2.0. I made a list of pros and cons and some feedback for the product. This is a kind of a review, but it's a bit of it's a bit more unusual review, because I'm gonna give some ideas in regards to how the product can be improved, and a few ideas of design and to improve the product in just my opinions. This is for the company and also for other people who want to design an alarm clock, because I think there's a niche market for people who want to stay disconnected from electronic devices that keep you connected to the internet. They want to stay away from, for example, my case, I speak from my experience, I prefer not to have a clock that uses a lithium-ion battery, that once that battery is is rubbish, you can't use the product anymore, or you'll have to take it somewhere to replace the battery. I prefer to have standard AA or double A batteries for the clock, and which makes it like seem more like a more reliable lifetime product that you can use for a long time. So let's start with the pros. The screen is big. It's got a big screen with bigger lettering than the previous model, which just makes it more visible. Being a black LCD display, this is not the best for certain viewing angles, certain extreme viewing angles during the day. But during the night, it's highly visible, and even during the day, if you look from most frontal angles, is very visible, and you can see it in the room as well. If you plan to use this as a clock on your desk or something like that, where it's in your view or somewhere on a table away from a desk. But this is meant to be used as a bedside clock, so you will be able to see it quite clearly. Second, it's sturdy. It's a quality construction. You can feel the quality in it. It's robust, and which makes it a bit chunky. It's a big comparing to the previous model, which was smaller. It's reliable. Updates automatically to the Frankfurt atomic clock somewhere near Frankfurt. The downside is that you'll have, when it's not a big issue, but when you set the clock, you need to select. For example, if you're in the UK, you will have to select -1, because the clock takes the time from Germany, which is plus GMT +1. So when you set the clock for UK, you'll have to set it as -1. But it's, you just have to bear that in mind if you live in the UK, or if you live anywhere else in the world or where this clock is being sold. So take into account the zero, the time of Germany, and move from there, east or west, plus minus, depending on where you live. Ease of operation, that's another pro. Excellent, very easy to operate with the buttons at the front. settings, there's a set button at the back. Alarm, razor alarm, and regular alarm. Sensor can be switched off, so you don't have the light at night switched on if you prefer that. The light is bright enough to be used in the dark as a torch. So if you lost the remote, or in bed, if you lost the remote and it's dark, or if you lost your phone or something like that, or you want to go in pitch darkness to the bathroom, if you have good visual acuity, you just press this button, and the light is quite strong. Obviously this is front, the clock is front lit now, so you won't be able to see you can see the light, but it's not going to look strong. But if it's pitch dark, if you wake up at night and you know your pupils are adapted to darkness, you can take this clock with you and just press the snooze button to light up, and you can see in the dark very, very easy. Pleasant character design that matches the rounded corners in this watch. It suits it well. I didn't like in the beginning when I saw it online, but now I kind of, it grew into me. I prefer the more squarish design of the previous model, but this one looks just fine. I really like it. It blends well with the clock. And also from the body perspective, the clock is quite narrow, so it's a vertical design. It's quite narrow, so it would fit nicely on your bedside table. It doesn't take much space, but there's a downside to that, and we're gonna speak about it in a moment. So let's move to the cons. I separated the cons in two groups. The first is the more serious ones. So I will address that. So it's not a gentle riser by any means. The alarm tone is a beeping sound, which is different from left to right. And although the raising alarm tone is quieter than the regular tone, it is nowhere near gentle. It's definitely not a gentle riser, or for more sensitive people, to which I include myself. The screen is a bit cluttered, and the same was with the original Bingo. The time this time is sandwiched in between the date, which is at the top, and the two alarm clocks at the bottom. And it's got also the seconds thrown in the middle here, and some sign for the network when it's connecting to the network. Could do with a redesign in terms of like having the temperature date at the bottom, the time at the top, and the alarm times should be accessible when you press the button for the alarm, so you can see the alarm straight in here where the clock is. So you would press the alarm once, it will show for 5 seconds what time the alarm, the time where the alarm is going to ring, and if you press and hold, then you will be able to edit the timings for the alarm, because at the moment if you press and hold, nothing happens. So it's a missed opportunity to have a function allocated to this button by press and hold. Press and hold, you can edit where just pressing will take you now. So yeah, these two could be removed, because really you don't need to see the time of the alarm throughout the day, or it's not, I don't think it's necessary. Once you set the alarm, it's set. You're gonna wake up in the morning, and that's it. If you really need to, oh, did I set it well or something, just press it once, it will show for 5 seconds, on the screen, and then the clock will come back again. So that could be, I don't know if it's very difficult to do. It could be much easier to do that way. Okay. The display is bright in the dark to the point of being disturbing, not for those gentle souls like me. Peter really, since night sensor illumination was absolutely perfect in the original Bingo. So the thing is, like, the first iteration of this clock, and I bought the negative display because I don't want something that's very strongly lit in my bedroom. And the thing is that this clock, the whole surface is light up, whereas the first model had the sensor was set so that it didn't light up too much, and only the white numerals were barely visible. You know, it was not disturbing at all. It was just really nice to have like a clock next to your bed, and you just could see in the evening or at night just the numerals. It wasn't a disturbance. I think the company should focus on making these reverse LCD screens for the people that don't want disturbances. You know, focus on having them like the sensor to be lower, the LCD to be of a much lower brightness than the positive LCD, so it doesn't light up your whole bedside table at night and be disturbing. If because there were some people who complained they bought the black LCD and then they complained that it wasn't visible at night and stuff like that. They should buy a positive display, but it should be mentioned in the description that this is a negative display and it's meant to be this way. It shouldn't be disturbing. It should be subdued. It should be for someone who doesn't like bright lights in the night, but it should be advertised so you don't get like negative display or anything. But should be focused. A negative display should be specifically marketed and targeted at people that are gentle in nature. You know, accumulated with a razor lamp tone, but much lower volume than this clock. Okay, let's move to the next one. Now, the next problem I want to specify is that front setting buttons needs to be pressed for 3 seconds to start moving faster. It's like it's been purposely set this way to annoy you. Same goes for the previous model. Highly impractical in day-to-day operation. It should be it shouldn't take more than 0.8 or 1 second to start the count faster. For example, you want to set the alarm in the morning, and then you move to the minutes, and you want to go, for example, at 1955, and you press the button, and it takes 1, 2, 3, and then start counting. Why does it have to take 3 seconds? I don't understand. If you constantly change your time, like if you use it often, if you don't wake up at the same time every day, do I really need every evening to wait another 3 seconds for the count to start? It's just a bit annoying. You see, 1, 2, 3. It should be 1 and go. That's it. You should want 1 second and start counting. Okay, and next one, functional, not the best design choice for the alarm activation switch. The striations are flat and offer no grip to the finger, but strange enough, the indentation at both ends of the switch offer more grip, which makes things more confusing. Okay, so these are not, I mean, they're not, this is not it's not like it's impossible to switch them on, but it's a bit of, I don't know, they didn't put much thought into it. Look at these, this thing, it's got some striations here, you can see, but they're flat. Your finger doesn't grip much. It grips more in this I don't know if it's meant to, you meant to pull here, or just use this. It works, but let me show you something. Look, this is a Braun shaver, and look how the switch, look there, you see, very nicely grips, you see, very nicely, it's got a very nice grip to it, whereas this is just flat, you know. So they have to think about that and see how they can improve on that. What I was thinking, like, it would be nice if this clock, this alarm clock, will have like an oversized flip switch, you know, like a something like a stick coming out of it, and when you look at it, you will see that, for example, if the alarm is off, it would be flipped up, and if the alarm is on, if it would be flipped down, you see. So it will be instant feedback, because you will see it on the outside, it's up, it's down. And also this thing here, that needs to be a bit higher, a bit bigger. It's very understated. I will get to that in a moment. Okay. Okay, so next, these are the second category cons, which are not so crucial or anything. The clock has more than 3 visual signs to let you know that the alarm is actually on. As to the clutter of the screen, yeah. So basically, if you flip the alarm on, which is strange, is up instead of down. I mean, if you have, like, if you turn the, I don't think this is maybe, I don't know, I got used to, for example, if I turn on the light, I turn it on down, but the alarm turns on by pushing up. It's I don't know, it's a preference maybe, because in some electricians or whoever does the when they put the flip switches for the lights in the rooms, they might put it the other way around. I don't know which way is the right way, but I got used to having this way by flipping down to turn it on, from the lights I had in my house at home. So I don't know if that's right or not. Anyway, so when you turn the alarm on, you got this showing you that the alarm is on. You got the line around the clock, and also you have this bell here that tells you is the second alarm. And here on this side you got the same. So you got 1, 2, and 3 signs that tells you the alarm is on. I don't know why would I need 3. At least, let's say, ignore this, because this is just in the dark, you're not gonna see it, and you know, it's just there to show you that the alarm is on. When you set it, you can see it. The alarm is on. It's good feedback, so that's not a clutter. But these two, why do I need to know this is the second alarm and this is the first alarm? No, I don't know. It's on, it's fine, it's on. But I think these, I don't know, bells just add, or the circle around them somehow, yeah, I don't know, it should be one or the other, I don't know. It's a bit strange. Anyway, okay, moving to the next thing. The clock is tall and slim, which means that it can be easily knocked over. The advantage is that it takes less space. It's not a critical issue, but if you lose the battery cover, and the alarm clock will start bouncing around like a penguin. Not a critical design failure, but more thought should have been put into it. So that's the clock. Now, if it should be fine, but if it's easy for it to be toppled over. The second thing is that if you got kids at home or they play with it, whatever, if you lose the battery cover, is that it doesn't stay straight anymore. It stays, but look, because the feet are on the battery cover. I've seen in my life quite sometimes families they lose, the kids play with it, they break it or something like that, and then you don't have stability on it. Not a big issue, but they could have put the feet on the side here, or like an indentation straight to the corner, and then it will, no matter whether you lose the battery cover or not, it will stay put. Not a big issue, as I said, but yeah, could have been made better. It feels large and chunky, larger than it might seem in the pictures. Screen is not flush to the surface. That's already something something too much to ask for. It's just a alarm clock. It would be nice to have like a flush screen to the surface, Not the biggest fan of the round alarm plus minus buttons that although they're functional, but I would have preferred to have like some slim buttons here. For example, I have here this battery charger from Technoline, and it's got these little buttons here like that. And the thing is, like, if you put a button like this, you can reduce the size of the clock. You make it a bit smaller, reduce the footprint. I don't know, just an idea there, food for thought. Maybe, I don't know if they'll take that into account. Snooze button is understated and rough around the edges. It doesn't blend well with the rest of the design language, but it's functional enough. So as you can see, the snooze button, you can barely see there at the top, and also I looked also on the previous iteration, on the first iteration of the bingo, and the snooze button was much bigger and the edges were round. You could see, you can see it online if you want to check it. Okay, another thing is when changing the battery, the memory is wiped out and the clock needs to be set again. It's not the biggest turn off, but it would have been nice if somehow the clock would have kept its memory for at least 30 seconds, 20 seconds, something like that, so it gives you time, so you don't have to set it again. Okay. And one of the last cons is that the vertical screen coupled with negative display means that the display is difficult to read from extreme angles during the day at a distance. It's not the biggest problem since this is a bedside clock that's meant to be looked at from close distance and used in the evening and in the morning, but worth mentioning for those expecting to look at it at midday from across the room in, I don't know, strange angles from. As I said, the clock is visible from. I could see it if it's a lit room. I could see the clock from 3-4 meters, 5 meters, so you can easily see it. But if you look from the side, then it's less visible. But I think any clock would be less visible from the side. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to my deal breakers, why I'm not keeping it. The thing is, like, I bought many products and I bought many clothes in my life, and the way I do with clothes, I do with any product pretty much. Unless I'm completely satisfied with it, I return it or I don't buy it. And there's a few things that that keep me from keeping this alarm clock. So the first thing is that the raising alarm is too loud. My G-Shock watch wakes me up just fine, although quieter. The TFA Dostmann bingo raising alarm is loud in a quiet environment, such as when I wake up in the morning from a good night's sleep. So that's, I'm reading, because as you notice, I'm reading from the review I'm gonna leave on Amazon, which probably I'm gonna edit some of it. So the thing is, like, the alarm is not very loud if it rings and you're during the day or something, but if you sleep, it's a sudden alarm. It's the beeping noise, and I don't like that. I have on my iPhone. I can't show my iPhone because I'm sleeping with it. I'm recording with it. I got on my iPhone this song for waking up, and it's really nice. Although it's MP3, I don't know if it's possible to put MP3 files in a device that uses AAA batteries. It would be a great feature to add. It would be an incredible feature to add, to have your own ringtone in a battery powered alarm clock. That would be a great feature to have. So yeah, it's too loud for me, and I think it's going to be too loud for people that want a gentle riser. As I said previously, would be great if the company would target reverse LCD displays to gentle people who want to wake up gently to quiet, soothing sounds. Okay, next thing, the display is too bright and total darkness makes it disturbing when falling asleep. I love the first iteration of this clock for this very reason. The display was dimly lit, very dimly lit, and only the numerals could be seen in the dark without casting almost any light at all. The Bingo 2 lights up my whole bedside table in the dark. It's one big glowing rectangle in the dark. For sensitive people, this will be an issue. TFA Dostmann should focus on designing these reverse, is what I was saying. TFA Dostmann should focus on designing these reverse LCD clocks for gentle people and couple a lower wake up tone with a lower lit LCD, and use that to advertise the product to the specific niche of people who don't want to be kept awake by a bedside clock or woken up with a sudden bang. I haven't seen this anywhere else on a battery powered clock, but it would be nice to have the option to use my own tones on my alarm clock. A feature that would let me insert a micro SD card with a ringtone would be something I would be really grateful for, but I don't know if that's possible on a battery powered clocks, as this kind of feature seems to be available on some of the lithium-ion powered alarm clocks, and I prefer standard AA or AAA battery powered clock over the non-replaceable lithium powered alarm clocks, which to me they feel like they have been designed to be absolute one day. It's the thing I was talking about. So having the best combination for me, and I think there's a niche for people that prefer something that's disconnected, something that's gentle, a reverse LCD with a clear design, with not a clutter, two alarms, and then temperature, and then everything, the clock in the middle. I haven't seen anywhere this, by the way. I haven't seen any other clocks. I looked on Amazon at many designs, and I haven't seen anywhere a clock in the middle, like the date at the top and alarms at the bottom and clock in the middle. And look at the seconds there, and the tone is like I don't know. It's just it's strange to have like the antenna there and then the two dots and everything in there in the middle. The previous model had the antenna, the sensor, because the sensor and something else here, like the setting button, the setting icon here, and then the clock at the top, and the date and the temperature in the middle, and then the alarms at the bottom. But honestly, these two alarms, I don't understand the purpose of having these two alarms. As I previously said, you can just press this button once and have the alarm displayed on where the watch is, and then press and hold to edit the alarm. for the morning. You don't need to have them displayed. Okay, so that's it. I hope you know, it's 30 minutes. It took a long time. Sorry about that. I'm not a professional in making reviews and stuff, but I hope I'll get better with it. So this is the clock. You've seen all of it. I hope I didn't miss anything. So you got these, you got the set button on the back and these two flip switches for the auto light or auto light off, and the alarm regular or increasing. I'll add the tones for they have two separate tones on the alarms. One on the right is different on the left. The first and the second, yeah, we have the numbers there. So that's it. I will add the tones to the video, and I will compare. You will get to compare the tones, the razor tones, the razor tone on this side, the loud tone on this side, the loud tone on this side, and also the tone on my G-Shock watch as well. If I get a good, if I'm having a rested sleep, I wake up with this watch wakes me up. So it's not very loud and I wake up with it. That's why I said this is too loud for me. Okay, take care. I hope you enjoy it. Bye. Hi guys. So I made some sketches here as to how you know, my idea of a better design for this alarm clock would be. The idea is to design it in a way that resembles like a PlayStation, you know. So the buttons would be on the side. It would be very easy with your thumbs to press the buttons instead of having the buttons at the bottom and pressing them like that, you know, as in this case the buttons are positioned at the bottom. I think the buttons on the side is much easier to use them. So this would be the display, and that's how it looks like. So you got the hour, you got the minutes, and you got the seconds here displayed, and there's an indicator for the first alarm and second alarm there, and then underneath would be the seconds. And here you would have the day of the day of the week and the date and month, and also the temperature here in the corner. Obviously you would have plus minus and also the alarm buttons on this side. Obviously these arrangement could be a bit different, but it makes sense to have like a big clock so you can see the numerals, and then everything else on the side much smaller, because obviously I'm not gonna look at the clock and be interested to see the date all the time, but the time is the most important thing. And that's why I say, but when I mention the fact that this clock is a mess in the terms of the design of the how the numbers are being organized on the screen, with the time sandwiched in between the date and the two alarm times, which are totally unnecessarily to be displayed there. Yeah. In terms of form, I was thinking of this form. You would have like an L shape. It's much more stable. It would take a bit more space when it's sitting down, or you could we could have like a design such as like this, like a kind of squarish form like this, which would be again very stable. The most important thing, I think, that it needs to be a bit tilted. So if it stands on a table, if you're walking, it's facing a bit upwards, so you have a better view of the time, and it doesn't affect much your viewing angle from if you're sitting in bed as well. So I think it's only it only makes sense to be for the screen to be a bit tilted. Here you have the same design as here, And this time you would have two more buttons that you could use on the back. I don't know what function you could put in there, maybe some switches or some other buttons. But basically, if you would have like as a console as this is, you could have two fingers at the back and two at the front. I mean, it would be like a PlayStation, but it would be very easily reachable. If you hold something in your hand, that's where your fingers are going to go. So it's just very simple, not two little buttons at the bottom. Another idea I would like to suggest, it would be something, I will draw it now, something with something like that. So still a triangle, some sort of triangle with a small lip at the bottom there, and you will have the buttons here. So let's say, so this format, so let's not forget this, we will have this format from, that's the section view, and then here you will have like a small extension, and all the buttons will be here, sort of like a small little buttons. So it would look like something like that, and then you will have buttons here. Let's say you would have in the middle like a nap timer, and then on the side you'll have the alarm clock and plus and minus. And this would be great because obviously the advantage of this design is that you can hold it in your hands and you can use the buttons with your thumb. But if it's like this, it can sit on the table and you just press the buttons. It's also very easy. I mean, this design is more a design that would be making the watch more stable on the table, and it could be used on the table instead of holding it in your hand. So this will be also a very efficient way of placing the buttons. It would be wobbly because you press down on the buttons, and yeah, it would be very easy to set up. It will sit next to your bed and you just press the buttons. You don't need to lift it up, you don't need to do anything. And then you could have like switches on the side like it is here. So in this case, let's say this is the design, and then you will save a lot of space here because all this can be screen. So you'll have like this. Let's say this is 2 8s and 1 8. Yeah, 1 8. And then you don't need this space. You don't need to put any buttons here. All the buttons will be at the bottom. So this would be very nice, to very clean design as well. And then you'll have the date and temperature here. You know, it's very clean design, and you save. You don't need as much space around the screen because the buttons are at the bottom, and it's very stable as well. This won't move from the table. And then the switches for the alarms could be placed on the side as it is here. You will have the switches here, and then the extension lip as it is here or so, like that. And this is a great little clock I wanted to show you quickly. It's been made by Sony, and I think a lot of inspiration can be taken from Sony for from their Dream Machine devices. Obviously, this clock has some drawbacks, some functionality drawbacks, because the buttons are placed on the side and they're a bit clumsy to reach and press, and you can't operate them if you press from the side. But there are other models that one can draw inspiration from. So yeah, Sony has made some great designs, and some great ideas can be taken from Sony Dream Machine little radios. Yeah. So, and while we're at Sony, I think it would be a great addition to put an FM radio inside. But obviously, this is this is something that it makes things more complicated. But to keep it simple, yeah, totally disagree with this design of a clock, and much more for this design clock, or what was it? This design, which is here, here, and this here. Okay, that's it.